There are days when we feel like everything is stuck, that we pray, we wait, and nothing moves. As if God were silent. As if the promises were taking longer than we imagined. Have you ever felt that your blessing is taking too long? That while others move forward, you remain on pause? You are not alone. All of us, at some point, face that feeling of endless waiting. And it's right there, in the middle of that waiting, where our faith is most tested. But today, I want to tell you something you might urgently need to hear. You are not forgotten. You are not outside God's plan. You are not late. God never makes a mistake with timing. He never improvises. Every detail of your life is being carefully worked out, even if you don't see it. Sometimes we get desperate because we want everything to happen now. We want quick answers, instant solutions, clear paths. But God does not work under pressure. He works with purpose, and His purpose always shows up. In the perfect time, this message is an invitation to trust. To take a deep breath and say, Lord, I don't understand what you're doing, but I trust that what has to come will come, and it will come when it should come. Today, we are going to talk about that. About how to keep the faith. When God's timing doesn't match ours. About how not to give up when everything feels delayed, and about how to prepare to receive what God has already planned for us. Because, yes, maybe you can't see it now, but everything will arrive. At the right moment. At the precise time, not before. Not after. Just have faith. Because when you learn to trust God's timing, you learn to live with peace, with purpose, and with hope. Stay until the end of this video. Because if today you are in a season of waiting, this message might be exactly what your soul needs to hear. Asterisk. When we think about God's timing, we often compare it to ours. But the truth is that God is never in a hurry. And He never arrives late. He always acts at the exact moment. And even if it's hard to accept, many times the waiting is part of His answer. Have you noticed how the Bible is full of waiting stories? Abraham had to wait years to see the promise of a son fulfilled. Joseph was sold as a slave and spent years in prison before God's purpose was revealed. David was anointed king, but he had to wait a long time, facing persecution, before he sat on the throne. And do you know what they all have in common? That God never abandoned them during the waiting. And the same happens with you. Maybe right now you don't understand why that answer hasn't arrived, why that door hasn't opened, why everything seems so slow. But that doesn't mean God is far. It means He is working in you and for you. Because waiting is not a punishment. Waiting is a preparation. God is shaping your character, your patience, your trust. He is removing what is unnecessary, polishing what hurts, strengthening what will one day sustain the blessing. That is coming. Many want the promise, but they don't want the process. And without process, there is no growth. And without growth, there is no maturity to hold what is coming. That's why today I invite you to see your waiting differently. Not as a delay, but as a school. Not as silence, but as an invisible construction. And do you know what is the most beautiful part? That while you wait, God never rests. He keeps writing your story. He keeps aligning circumstances. He keeps preparing hearts, places, and details. All so that, when the moment comes, you can say, now I understand why I had to wait. Asterisk there is something we must constantly remember. God sees what you cannot see. He has access to the full picture, while we only see a piece of the frame, and many times what seems like a delay today. Tomorrow we will understand it was protection, a blessing disguised as waiting. Maybe you are waiting for a job, a relationship, an answer, and in your heart there is anxiety because you feel like nothing is moving. But what if God is protecting you from something you can't even imagine? What if He is saying, wait, because now is not the best for you? Having faith is not only believing that God can do something. Having faith is also believing that if he hasn't done it yet, he has a reason. And trusting his reason, even when we don't understand it, is one of the deepest acts of love toward God. Because yes, sometimes it hurts. Sometimes we cry while we wait. Sometimes we feel like we can't go on anymore. But even in those tears, God is present, collecting each one, hearing every prayer, holding you when you feel like you have no strength left. And it is at that point that many give up, where faith becomes weak. Where questions begin. Did God really hear me? Is something wrong with me? Will it ever come? But listen carefully. The fact that you see nothing doesn't mean God is doing nothing. There are roots that grow in silence. There are promises that mature in the invisible. And there are miracles that only happen when we learn to wait with a calm heart. God, it's not easy. I know. But God didn't ask you to carry this burden alone. He asked you to trust. To rest in his faithfulness. Remember, the same God who opened the Red Sea, who multiplied the bread, who raised the dead, is the God who takes care of you. And he hasn't changed. His promises are still firm. His love is still intact. His plan for you still stands. Maybe you can't see the end of the road yet, but step by step, day by day, God is leading you exactly where you need to be. And when you look back, you will see that every second of waiting made sense. Asterisk, and look at this. It is no coincidence that you are hearing this message today. God knew exactly what you were feeling. He knows the tiredness you don't share with anyone. He knows your silent battles, your thoughts when you turn off the light, your trembling voiced prayers. And that is why he gently repeats to you, my son, my daughter, I have not forgotten you. What you are waiting for will arrive. Just trust. God has not been silent because he left. He is silent because he is working. Remember Lazarus, the friend of Jesus? He was sick. His sisters sent for Jesus, but Jesus did not go immediately. To human eyes, it seemed like a delay, but in reality, it was the perfect stage for a greater miracle. Jesus didn't just want to heal Lazarus. He wanted to raise him from the dead. And sometimes the same happens with you. Are waiting for God to heal something in your life? But he wants to do something even bigger. He wants to resurrect dreams, restore your story, surprise you with something beyond your expectations. So don't despair in the waiting, because while you wait, he is preparing something better. And not only that. During that waiting, he is also transforming you, your character, your faith, your heart. There are things we only learn when we wait. There are strengths we only discover when we feel we have none. There is a version of you stronger, more mature, more like Jesus, that is only born in the process. And as painful as it is, all of it has a purpose. God wastes nothing. Not a single tear, not a sleepless night, not a prayer without an answer. Everything is being woven with love by the hands of the Creator. One day you will look back and say, thank you, Lord, for not giving me what I wanted at the moment I asked, because what you prepared went beyond anything I imagined. Asterisk. Have you ever experienced that in the middle of a sincere prayer, the only thing you receive is silence? You pray, you plead, you cry, and all you hear is a distant echo inside you. That silence can feel overwhelming. But what if I told you that this silence is not punishment, but preparation? God is not absent when he is silent. He is working, even when you cannot see him. In the story of Joseph, the young man sold by his brothers, unjustly imprisoned, forgotten by those who promised to help him. For years, God remained silent. But all that time, he was writing something greater. He was shaping Joseph's character. He was preparing the path to place him as governor of Egypt. Sometimes we ask for signs, quick answers, easy roads. But God responds. In His timing, not ours. And many times in His silence, He is teaching us to trust, to depend completely on Him. Even when we don't understand. It is in that silence that our faith grows stronger, where we learn that God is not only the one who opens doors, but the one who holds us when everything seems closed. Look back. Remember moments when you felt He was not there. And now you realize that it was right then, that He cared for you the most. His silence is not His absence. It is His love working in the unseen. It is His voice saying, trust, I am here. I am not done with you. There are situations that tear us apart inside. Losses, betrayals, failures we can't understand. And the first thing that rises from our hearts is, why, God? But maybe the question is not why, but what for? What you are living today may not make sense now. But one day you will look back and everything will fit together. You will see how every tear planted strength. How every waiting season formed patience. How every fall taught humility. Remember Job. He lost everything. Children, health, possessions. And still he said, though he slay me, yet will I hope in him. And do you know what happened next? God restored him. He gave him double, but more than material things. The most valuable part was what happened in his heart. His faith was purified. His soul was aligned. Today, it may hurt. Today, you may not understand anything. But if you remain in faith, if you don't let go of God's hand, tomorrow you will tell your story as a testimony. And others will find hope when they hear how you came out of the darkest pit. Your scars will speak of healing. Your battles will speak of victories. Your pain will become a platform to comfort others. God wastes no suffering. He turns mourning into dancing, ashes into beauty. And what breaks you today will be your greatest strength tomorrow. Asterisk. Time may have passed. Circumstances may have changed. What once filled you with hope may now feel like a distant dream. But listen to this. The promise has not been canceled. God is not a man that He should lie, nor a son of man that He should change His mind. What He promised, He will fulfill. And even if the road has become hard, heaven still has your name written in its plans. Maybe today you don't feel like someone chosen. Maybe you feel you failed, that you didn't measure up, that your chance has passed. But God's faithfulness does not depend on your merits. He remains faithful even when we fail, and His grace is so great, it can restore what seemed lost. Abraham was almost 100 years old when Isaac was born. Sarah had already stopped believing. But God does not need perfect conditions to fulfill what He said. He only needs a heart that believes, even with doubts. If God promised you something, it doesn't matter how much time has passed. He knows how to open paths in the desert. He knows how to bring life to what has died. He knows how to surprise you when you no longer expect anything. The promise is still alive, even if you don't see it today. Even if your surroundings scream the opposite. Even if the enemy whispers that it's over. God is not done with you. And if you are still breathing, it's because your purpose is still active. Don't bury what God only asked you to. Wait for. Maybe it didn't come when you wanted, but it will come when you need it. And when it comes, you will understand why it had to take time. Asterisk. Waiting is not passivity. Waiting on God is one of the deepest acts of obedience and faith, because when you choose to wait, you are telling heaven, Lord, I trust your timing more than my anxiety. We live in a world that runs, that demands speed, that celebrates instant results. But the kingdom of God moves at a different rhythm, the rhythm of patience, the rhythm of consistency, the rhythm of obedience. It's not easy to obey when everything inside you screams to act. It's not easy to stay still when you feel like you're missing opportunities. But sometimes, obedience is staying. It is not running ahead. It is not forcing doors, That it is simply trusting. Moses had to spend 40 years in the desert before fulfilling his calling. Jesus waited 30 years before starting his ministry. Paul spent years being formed before preaching with power. God is never in a hurry, but he is never late. And every second of waiting has a purpose in your formation. During the wait, you learn to listen better, to depend more, to release your will and embrace the will of God. So if today you are on pause, don't see it as wasted time. It is time invested in your soul, in your character, in your obedience. There is no glory without process. There is no fruit without a seed buried, and there is no victory without waiting. Your obedience, even in stillness, is an offering that rises like incense to heaven. God sees it. God honors it. And in his perfect timing, the reward will come. When the sky is at its darkest. It's because dawn is about to break, and may be right. Now you are in your longest night. But listen carefully. God is closer than you think. He has not let go of you. He has not ignored you. He has not left you alone on this path. His steps surround you. His angels protect you. His Spirit strengthens you. Even when you believe you cannot go on. There are moments when we feel nothing. We hear nothing. We see nothing. But faith is not based on what we feel, but on what we know. And we know that God is faithful. We know that he never abandons his children. We know that even in the silence, he is working. You are not as far from fulfillment as you think. What feels distant today may already be right around the corner. God does not need months to change your story. All he needs is a moment, a word, a day. So stay firm. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep waiting, because you are not alone. And what is coming will be far greater than anything you have lived. Don't let the enemy steal your hope. Don't let exhaustion make you give up. God is close, and so is your miracle. Remember, seasons change, and this season will pass too. When you least expect it, you will see the promise fulfilled before your eyes. Everything arrives in its perfect time and now. As we close this journey through stories of faith, perseverance, and obedience, I want you to carry this in your heart. Nothing in life happens by accident. Everything is carefully woven in God's perfect timing. Maybe today you feel that your prayers haven't been heard, that your efforts are bearing no fruit, or that God is silent. But don't confuse God's silence with his absence. Sometimes heaven stays silent only because it's working. Look at the story of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, sold as a slave, forgotten in prison. Yet, at the exact time, God exalted him to fulfill a much greater purpose. Or Abraham, who waited decades for a promise. Or Hannah, who wept bitterly for a child. And still, each of them saw God's faithfulness manifest. At the precise moment, faith is not about understanding the when, but trusting the who. Trusting that there is purpose even in pain, that there is meaning behind every tear, every waiting season, every process. Human impatience wants everything now. But God's clock does not work like ours. He is never late, and he is never early. He arrives right on time. And when he does, everything aligns in a way that goes beyond our understanding. Sometimes we think God is taking too long, but the truth is that we are the ones not yet ready to receive what we long for. God does not deliver half promises. When he fulfills completely. So if you are waiting for something, don't lose faith. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't despair over human timing. Have faith. Everything arrives in its perfect time, and when it comes, it will not only make you happy, it will make you understand why it didn't come sooner. If this message touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Comment below. I wait on God, and let's build together a faith community that does not give up. And if you want to keep hearing more Bible stories that feed your soul, click here on the suggested video. See you in the next one. May God bless you. And never forget, He always arrives. And He is never late.